Victim's coming out, victim's coming out.
The fire ground is dynamic. Priorities can change by the second. This series is about our first priority, life priority. We'll hear from the firefighters that have made a grab in live fire conditions, the decisions they made and the lessons they learned. Listen as they tell you about their experience, learn from their mistakes and their successes. Expect fire and expect victims. Expect the unexpected and plan accordingly. This is Life Priority. Firefighter Morgridge, thanks for sitting down with us for the Life Priority series. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the rescue you were involved in?
Greg Morgridge, I'm a firefighter here at Sac Metro. I've been with Sac Metro since got hired in 2015, and then I was a single role for approximately 1 year throughout 2016. Got into a fire academy 17-1. For about 2 years, I was waiting to get on the hazmat team. After those 2 years were up, I got on the hazmat team, got over on C shift. I did a back half trade with somebody, and we turned out, to have a pretty good structure fire that day with a rescue. Early morning, me and engineer McDonald were on team 2. I was the tool seat that day. We arrived to a single-story residential subfloor basement with a garage. Jumped out of the hazmat immediately, ran up to the alpha side door, masked up quickly, opened the door, saw that there was a lot of smoke, a lot of heat coming from the alpha side there. While waiting for my partner, he's an engineer, he's got to mask up, he's got to get his pack on. There was an older gentleman walking around. I talked to him, I said, hey, is there anybody inside? That's when he said his son was inside. Immediately when I heard his son inside, the gears started turning in my head. While that was going on, the captain on the engine had said that the fire was in the garage subfloor back bedroom. I thought to myself, okay, I want to start my search closest to the fire. Jumped down into the garage. I saw that they had pulled a hand line in there. I followed the line in, got in pretty deep into the garage, into the back room where we had a lot of smoke, a lot of fire, a lot of heat. Got into the back bedroom, pushed me down to the ground. I turned around. We had the line in place, but it had bursts.
Hey! Yeah. I got no water. HM109 engineer, bump the pressure. Tyler! Oshiro! I need him, he's gotta pump the pressure, I got no fucking water.
So while I was following that line and doing my search, I came back out to relay the information, to see what I could do to help, and had my foot closest to the line, just following it out so I could see moving through the walls, making sure I grab everything, sweeping my feet to see if I could hit anybody. And that's where I ran into the victim standing in the hallway. Saw him standing there, or I didn't really see him there, I felt him there. Kind of gave him a little pat down, realized like, hey, it's not another firefighter, this is someone in some, civilian clothes. I underarm hooked him. We walked out, and as I was walking him out, he kind of collapsed, fell to the ground. During that time, I was trying to get my radio traffic out, and I couldn't because I was more worried about getting the victim out. Once he fell to the ground, I just dragged him the rest of the way out. Luckily, there was there's an engineer out there waiting, and I had just told him to relay the information out so I could attend to the victim.
What were some of the lessons that you learned on your rescue?
One of the biggest lessons I learned, taking that time, I kind of sprinted out of the hazmat, got to the front door, masked up really quick, and it takes that engineer a minute to kind of get his pack on, get him masked up. And when I was told that there was a rescue in the basement of the subfloor, I should have communicated better to him that I was moving down that way, but I kind of got into that rescue mind. I ran down to that basement and jumped right in right away and started working. I should have talked to him more, tell him exactly what I was doing. After the fire was out, him and I talked, and he told me I did the right thing about going down there. He had set up right where I was getting ready to make entry, and he actually did make entry and started his search up there, thinking that I was in there. Another lesson that I learned too is you could have a charged hose line in there, thinking that they're knocking the fire down, But you know, in that particular case, I got to the nozzle and realized like, hey, there's no water flowing. When we followed the line out, we could see that there was a burst in it, and you know.
HM109 engineer, nozzle, I still got no pressure. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. I got a fucking trickle. I got the fire knocked down here. Hey, did we get this room searched?
They did a really good job of getting the information out, and I wanted to make sure that not only did they communicate with the radio, but I wanted to get a face-to-face with the engineer just to kind of make sure that he knew what was going on. Another big lesson learned too is we found out later that the victim had ran back inside, so I kind of had like a little kind of self-doubt that I might have missed him, but in that particular case, he had ran back in, and I thought I did a good job, and even kind of doubted myself, like, hey, I missed this person on the way out, or on the way in, how did I do that? But then I found out later that he had ran back into the building. Once I kind of got out of the house into the garage, there was still some pretty significant smoke. That's when he kind of just gave up and fell on the ground, and that's when I had to like, okay, I wanted to get my radio traffic out, but I knew I had to get this guy immediately out of that area. So I pulled him out, got him to the front lawn, and then luckily there was an engineer out there that was able to get that traffic out of there to get a medic to come help him. Typically you think, when we train or we go over scenarios, there's going to be a victim on the ground, incapacitated, we can't move them. And in this particular case, this person ran back in the house and they were trying to get their dogs out. They were moving around into the fire.
Yeah, it's challenging to find a victim when you're kind of playing cat and mouse and they're moving around, right? So that's a great lesson learned.
Yeah.
Firefighter Mortgage, is there anything else you'd like to share about your experience?
Sometimes we work these back halves and we're kind of just thinking, hey, we're going to come into work, we're going to eat dinner, have a good time, run some medical aids, run some calls, and move on into the next day. And just having that right mindset of like, hey, you know, even though I'm working a back half, these fires and these rescues can still happen. I guess that would be my biggest thing to take away from this, or give some advice. It's like, you know, you might go in there doing a search, you know, primary search, and come up empty-handed, but that's why we do that secondary search to make sure, you know, cover our bases. And when we train, we don't really think about people running back into a building.
Fire service is about tradition. One of our traditions is about passing on our experiences and our lessons learned. When we do this, the story doesn't focus on the individual, but the team and the outcome. These lessons are shared so that you can better serve the public and your fellow firefighters. If you have a rescue and you're hesitant to tell your story, remember, the lessons you share may help save someone else's life or your own. Share your story by contacting us at lifepriority@metrofire.ca.gov.